today is the day. I'm finally going to be reading Berserk after knowing of it for about 10 years because I have a long weekend, no big travel plans, and automatically my next option was to do a 24-hour readathon. That's just how my brain works. And I knew I was going to be reading this eventually, so I stayed away from spoilers for as long as I could. I managed to avoid them for the most part, although I did see a pretty minor one the other day, like 2 weeks ago. I think it's minor. I'm still completely blind about the plot of this series. I know nothing about it except the name of the protagonist and the antagonist. Otherwise, I know nothing, like going in completely blind, so that should be fun. But because I know this can also be a pretty tough story to consume all at once, I have sweat and soap to mix things up if need be. So those are the two main series I'm going to be reading during this vlog. I'm not trying to get through both of them. I'm going to take my time with it, do things a little bit differently than I usually do in my 24-hour readathons, where I do nothing but read and everything else comes second place. I'm going to take my time with this one. I'll be doing Pomodoro timers if I need to take breaks. I will be cooking. I'm really craving kimchi soup and I bought some ingredients for it the other day, so I'm going to be making that during this vlog. I'll be updating my reading tracker, making notes of everything that I'm reading, and I'm just going to have fun with it and see how much of both series I can get through. All right, see ya. I have the first 5 volumes of Berserk here. I'm missing volume 3 and a couple other volumes, but everything that I don't own, I'm going to read online via 𝕍𝕆𝔻𝕶 through the library. So I'll try to get through these 5 and see how long that takes me. I have my Pomodoro timer just because I'm not going to stick with it strictly just when I think I need breaks, but that is pretty much it. And I'm going to be trying to use my camera to film most of this vlog, so hi. All right, let's get to it. I'll start the countdown timer on my phone when it's 8, but this is what I'm going to be listening to. I love this playlist where I'm reading. It's a jazz lo-fi playlist. I think I have another one that's pretty similar, so this one, jazz lo-fi vibe. So between those two, I should be pretty set, and I will come back when I start my 24-hour countdown timer. I forgot to film at 8 a.m. when I started the countdown timer, but the countdown is on. I have a Pomodoro timer going on, but the time is currently 8:03, and I'm going to have to restart that, so let's refresh it. I will be reading the first volume of Berserk, and I'll come back with my thoughts when I'm done with it. So let's go ahead and start that Pomodoro timer. I'm doing a long one, so 50 minutes with 10-minute break. So let's get it. Okay, I'm done reading the first volume. That took about 20 minutes and I enjoyed it because it went pretty fast. There was minimal reading and I could just sit down and appreciate the art and the story that was being told. Intrigue-wise, it's kind of at like a medium because it's unlike anything I've ever read. So I'm going to keep reading, see how I'm enjoying the story. If I had to summarize it, I would say this is about a branded swordsman who has a penchant for spitting in people's faces and he's haunted by demons. I was so shocked to open up the first panel and the first thing I saw was demon cheeks being clapped. And after reading this first volume, I can see why this would be described as a dark fantasy. The creatures in this are pretty grotesque, but not bad enough to like turn me off of reading it, so it's not bad. I'll read the next couple of volumes that I have picked out and see how I feel about the story and my curiosity or interest level in continuing with it. So yeah, that is what I have to say about this first volume. I'll read the next two and come back and talk about them. I finished the second volume. Can't really say this is the type of manga I usually enjoy reading, but I'm going to keep reading since I have all of it. I don't have the third volume physically, so I'm going to read it on 𝕍𝕆𝔻𝕶. I already went ahead to borrow it, so it should be under my borrowed list right there. And I'll get some coffee as well and come back when I'm done reading the third volume. I'm still struggling to figure out the settings to use for my camera with natural lighting, so I'm doing this portion on my phone, but I got my coffee and I'm going to go ahead and start reading the third volume of Berserk. The time is exactly 10 a.m. I just finished reading the third volume. That's about how many volumes it takes me to determine if I want to keep reading something or if I'm going to drop it. And this third volume actually piqued my intrigue quite a bit. I'm going to keep reading the series. We met the Five God Hands and the main antagonist of the story, Griffith. Honestly, I feel like a part of me had been waiting for that to happen because I was aware of that character. So I was trying to figure out like, okay, when does this person come into play in the entire plot? We start getting some backstory into God's story. I was about to call him Berserk because that's the name of the manga, but into God's story and how he grew up as a kid. The volume ended on a pretty terrible scene. At least the impression that it's given from how it ended when this guy called Donovan came into his tent. And I'm just like, I really hope that's not what I think it is. Like, I hope that's not what's about to happen. And another thing that I noticed was they mentioned that the Count, or wait, when the entire thing with the Count was going on, right before he died, they mentioned that if he sacrificed his daughter, she would get branded and become a sacrifice for the demons. And they showed that part where it seemed like Griffith and Guts used to know each other. So I'm wondering, did Griffith sacrifice Guts to become a demon? And that's why Griffith is now a demon, and that would explain why he knows Griffith's name. I don't know, that might just be my brain working on overdrive, but that would be pretty interesting. I'm interested in knowing what happened between the both of them, and it's going in directions I didn't expect it to, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to keep reading. I will read probably up to volume 10 before I come back because it goes pretty fast. It's been 2 hours and I've read 3 volumes. So yeah, I'll just read the next 7 and then come back. If there's anything super interesting that happens before then that I feel like I need to talk about or just show on screen, I'm going to do that. But yeah, I'm going to keep reading. The time is 1:56, so nearly 2 p.m., which will make it 6 hours into the 24-hour readathon. I just started volume 8, and I am really enjoying this arc of the series where you get a backstory into how Griffith and Guts met each other. Griffith is such an intriguing character. He has an interesting mix of characteristics that make it very easy to understand how the Band of the Hawks became so devoted to him. He's really mysterious. He has an air of superiority and almost nobility about him, even though he's a commoner. He's smart, strong, and still sometimes has that childlike innocence that endears you to him even further. And one thing that kept going through my mind when I think of the spoiler that I got, the fact that he's now a demon, and some other things that obviously just let you know that he didn't make the very best choices in the future, is you don't really get an opportunity to see what his thought process is, at least so far in the 8 volumes that I've read. And his morality as a character is not very clear. You can't even define it as gray. It's just something that is up in the air. There are actions that he would take that don't necessarily feel out of character or in character. It's just something that he did. But there's this conversation that's going on right here with the feudal lord that he slept with a long time ago, that is now the governor of Tudor, I believe. And right here, the man is asking him like, oh, haven't you thought of that one night tryst that we had a long time ago? And his response was, I simply have no emotional interest in you at all. Resentment, endearment, nothing. I just took the liberty of using you when the opportunity appeared. You are like a stone lying by the side of the path I walk, that and nothing more. I feel like that describes him so much as a character. He does things to further his dreams. You don't necessarily have to understand it. It's just what it is. And that makes him such an interesting character. But I'm really starting to enjoy this. I'm getting into it. But I'm also going to take a break to eat right now. And I'll see you later. It is nearly 5 p.m. and I just finished the 10th volume, but things have taken a drastic turn since Guts decided to leave the Band of the Hawks. I was expecting Griffith not to let Guts go without a fight, but the turn that things have taken since that happened was a little bit unexpected. It was a very drastic turn, but the Band of the Hawks, or some of them, just went to rescue Griffith at the end of the 10th volume, but I think we're getting closer to the point where I can find out what really happened and led to the current state of events between Guts and Griffith. But in the meantime, I'm going to head out to a cafe for a change in environment, and I need to get some coffee. They're going to be open till 8 p.m, so I'm just going to hang out there until then. But I won't be talking to the camera in that time. You'll just see me reading. I'll probably show all the volumes that I'm able to get through while I'm there. I'm going to take the next 5 volumes with me. I doubt I'm going to get through all of that in the next 3 hours, but I have volumes 12, 13, and 14 physically. 11 and 15 I don't have, so I have to read those on Hoopla, but that's what I'll be taking with me. I'll also take maybe 1 to 2 volumes of Sweat and Soap with me, just in case. You can never be too prepared, but that's what I'm going to take with me to head out to the cafe. And the next shot you see will probably be of me reading at the cafe, and I will see you then. All right. Okay, this is like the third time I'm recording this portion of the video, but it's after 8 p.m. I'm back at home. I finished reading the 15th volume. The arc of the story that showed how Griffith became a demon has been wrapped up, and the story is now back in the current timeline. And one thing I'm going to say about that arc is I wasn't really shocked by Griffith's choice. If anything, I was more shocked by the fact that Guts and Casca seemed to be shocked by the fact that he decided to make that choice. And I was looking at the both of them just thinking to myself, like, really? Did you really understand this person? Because if you did, you wouldn't be so shocked that he decided to make this choice. So I don't know, what a complex and complicated history between the three of them. There were so many things that happened there that were grotesque, especially the part in the 14th volume. This is the spoiler I saw 2 weeks ago, by the way. In the 14th volume, after Griffith became a demon and he violated Casca, but not just that, what happened after the fact when she popped out that baby demon, I had to put the volume down for a while because I was just like, ugh, that is terrible. I can see why she would go insane after that happened. They haven't really shown her after that, so I hope she's doing okay, but I'm going to need a break from the series. It was a bit much, but I can keep reading if I want to, but I just want a change of pace, so I'm going to switch over to Sweat and Soap. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is try to summarize everything I've read so far, and I'll track what I've read so far on my reading spreadsheet as well. I'll see how much of Sweat and Soap I'm able to get through before I feel like going back to Berserk, if I go back to it at all. But that is my over 12-hour-ish updates now. I was meant to do this a little after 8 p.m. so that it would feel like a 12-hour update, but that didn't happen because I botched it so many times. But that is the end of this update. I'm gonna stop rambling now. Reading spreadsheet updated. I'm just going to assume that I'll get through about 4 volumes of Sweat and Soap, and I already did go ahead and try to summarize as much of Berserk as I could. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start reading Sweat and Soap now. Just finished the first volume, and this was the perfect switch up from Berserk. It was pretty lighthearted and enjoyable. It got off to a little bit of a rocky start with the sniffy thing, and when the guy, what's his name, took it a little bit too far when he started touching her when they were just co-workers. But he quickly realized his mistakes and apologized for it. They both have mutual feelings for each other, so I guess that's okay now. And I know people talked about how this was a more mature romantic series, which I expected, but I still didn't think the story was going to move that fast. But it's not a bad thing. I'm enjoying it. What I'm most excited for is Asako's character development as a person, because she has some low self-esteem and insecurity issues, probably due to how she was bullied when she was a kid because of her body odor. But I'm really excited for that. I think there is a lot that the author can do with that, so I'll just keep reading to see how that goes. And I'm going to switch to my low lighting for the rest of the night before the sun starts to rise tomorrow morning. past midnight and I'm so sleepy. I just woke up from a 12-minute nap, and I also made another cup of coffee in hopes that that would keep me awake for the remaining 8 hours. But I am moving on to the 4th volume of Sweat and Soap. I think I'm just going to try to get through the first box set before I switch over to Berserk again. I was hoping I could finish that by 2 a.m. but with my pacing right now, because if I was sleepy, I feel that's probably not going to happen, and that's totally fine. I'm just going to have fun with it and see how much I can get through, or how long it takes me to get through the first box set, and how much of Berserk I can get through with whatever is left of the day. But I have less than 8 hours to go, so I've already completed 2/3 of the readathon, which is great. I will see you when I'm done reading the first box set of Sweat and Soap and I'm making my switch to Berserk. That will be the next check-in. All right. A few minutes to 3 a.m. I just finished reading the first box set of Sweat and Soap. I really enjoyed it. Simple story, but the characterization was amazing. I wrote down a few points that I really enjoyed because I don't want to forget anything. I'm going to try to summarize them real quick. But I got the character growth that I was looking for in Asako. It wasn't abrupt, and that was great because people don't change overnight. But probably the one that stood out to me the most was when she introduced her brother to her boyfriend, and he mentioned that she usually puts other people before herself, but he noticed when they were having dinner with each other that she specifically said to Kotaro that she wanted something. And I just found that so heartwarming, because those are the kind of things that friends, family, loved ones will notice about you when you start seeing someone that might be kind of like a blind spot for you and don't automatically stand out to you. So I just found that really heartwarming. I thought they had really great communication, not just with each other, but with all the other characters in the series as well. The characters in the series are honestly such good vibes, and they have very mature ways of handling a lot of conversations, most especially the one around them moving in together. I love the fact that even from the guy's side, the people he was talking to, they took the conversation really seriously, and they brought up some really important points as well. So overall, I just really enjoyed that. But I'm going to switch over to Berserk now. I'm going to say though that taking a break from Berserk for a while to read Sweat and Soap gave me some time to really think about Berserk for a little bit. There were some disturbing points that I didn't mention earlier, and they were mostly around like sex. Like when what's his name, Guts was violated by that man Donovan when he was smaller, and that came back to play the first time he had sex with Casca as well. He nearly strangled her. It wasn't even a matter of nearly, he did strangle her. And then probably the most disturbing one for me was the one with the King of Midland, after he found out that his daughter Charlotte slept with Griffith. That was so disturbing. I feel like a part of me just selectively wiped it off of my memory. And what was so disturbing about it was the fact that it happened, but also when she came to, you'd think that he kind of call himself back and tell himself like, oh, I am doing something so deplorable, I'm so ashamed right now. Instead, this man doubled down and he actually tried to, I don't want to say the word because eek. He tried to, until she kicked him in the fucking eye. Like, that was so disturbing. So like I said, I just selectively wiped that off my memory. That was honestly so disturbing. I don't know why there are so many themes around that in the story, but I guess that's just the choice of the author. And I'm 15 volumes in. There are 41 volumes out in English right now, so nearly a third of the way. I'm wondering like where the story is going. I don't think I have an idea where the story is going. I will guess that maybe Guts is going to find a way to get out of getting himself branded by the demon mark, but there hasn't been any suggestion of the fact that a method like that exists, so I'm just going to keep reading for now. I hope the entire story is not just going to be about him fighting off demons, although that's probably what it's going to be. But yeah, I will try to get through the next 6 volumes. I want to make it through at least half of the series by the end of the 24 hours that I'm reading in this vlog. That made no sense, but I hope it did. Alright, I will do my spreadsheet tracking, my summaries and everything, and then I will start reading Berserk, and my next check-in will be my last one at 8 a.m. when I'm ready to go to bed. Hopefully I actually make it to that point, but I will see you then. Okay, I don't know how obvious this is, but the time is currently 1 p.m. It is bright outside because I, in fact, did not make it through all 24 hours of reading. I made it through volume 16 and 17 of Berserk. Volume 18 was where things started to get really hard. I started reading it around 5 a.m. and I want to say I fell asleep probably around 5:36, and when I woke up from my slumber, it was already 7:30. I thought about filming the wrap up for the video at that point, but I also knew that if I did that, I would not be able to go back to sleep. So I just went to sleep, and I'm filming the end of the video right now. I am totally okay with that. No matter what I did, I just couldn't get through this 18th volume. Even what I have opened right here, I'm just going to go ahead and reread the entire thing again because I cannot remember anything. Nothing was sticking in my brain, but overall I like the choices that I made for the readathon. Balancing Berserk with Sweat and Soap seemed to work out perfectly. I had a good mix of an intense story and a more lighthearted story, so I did enjoy that. And I'm going to try to read the rest of both series before this video is uploaded. I think I'm planning to upload this probably at the end of April or early May. So I'll try to get through the second box set of Sweat and Soap and read through volume 41 of Berserk. If everything works out well, but whatever day you find yourself watching this, make it a great one, and hopefully I get a chance to give my final thoughts on both series sometime in the future in another video. Alright, I just woke up. My brain is not online yet, but bye.